So the first thing I want to talk about is the 2-into-1 is what I'm referring to it, because I really want to walk before we run. For years, the printer bot has been chiefly a single extruder machine. And I have examples out there. I'll even show you one today. But I did 2 and 3 extruder machines, and I just put 3 extruders on it, the whole shooting match, all direct drive, really heavy. And the benefit of that, and I've got a couple of prints. So this one's funny. One of the reasons I was interested in multicolor is because this kid that did this, a friend of mine, he bought white filament and he sat there for hours with a magic marker and colored the filament with the Sharpie. And it came out looking pretty cool. And so, well, that's one way to do it, but it takes a long time. Anyway, so then we did dual color. And if you, I don't know if you can zoom in on this model at all, Dave, but while it's pretty cool, you can see that it's 2 individual extruders because the colors actually have kind of their own idiosyncrasies. And if you look at it this way, you may not be able to see this, but it's not quite calibrated. When you change colors, you have to put in the firmware when you do a traditional 2 extruder dual color machine. You have to put in there like how far apart are the nozzle tips and like X and Y, what's the offset. It gets really confusing. When you try to do 3, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so this was 2, and you know, it's okay, it's kind of novel, but it's not easy at all. Now, here's another example. This one looks even worse. This was one of our first ones. I think Caleb did this. Anyway, so you know, it's just hard, and so we were able to do it, but the whole process just got me down like, I don't even like doing this. Why would anybody else want to do this? So one thing recently that, I say recently, this could have been a year ago, but since then, these guys started doing this 2-into-1. And so this is just a demo to demonstrate. They bring 2 Bowden tubes into like this little Y block, and they have 2 drives back here, so you keep the mass off of the gantry, and you retract the color you're not using, and you push down the other color. So it's kind of a complicated color change G-code, but once you get that dialed, then it just executes. And it utilizes a tower, this big block beside the print, to like spit out and because in every hot end, when you do one color and you pull out that filament, well, you're only pulling out the filament that's solid enough to, you know, be pulled on. You leave this molten plastic down in the tip, and so you have to purge that out. And so if you've ever switched colors, you got to extrude until, you know, white goes to red, or vice versa. So you have to have that sacrificial tower to spit out a bunch of stuff. So that's part of the process too. Not great, but it's a start. Like I said, we want to walk before we run. So while I want to give you some links to Mark Tromley, and he's in Florida. We talked on the phone last week. He's heading up this. I think I sent him some stuff. He might have bought his own stuff. But anyway, really smart dude. And so this is a GitHub link, a Umagine link, and a forum. So do you want to tweet those? Or I'd say tweet, share the links. But anyway, so this is the project that he's kind of compiled and talking with me. I was no help, by the way. He's just like, are you alive? Are you alive? I'm like, yeah, I got to print that stuff. So had some crazy stuff come up recently this week. I thought I was going to get to it this week. So this is as far as I've gotten. My junior engineer, Mark, you'll hear me say Mark, but Mark and I do design stuff, and we were noodling on this today. It was Brian's old first model of the direct drive extruder. Originally, we wanted to do something that was 3D printable and had 2 direct drives. We took that model, or 2 pinions to drive the filament, and it turned into the gearhead. But these early models, this was useful. So this is designed, it's, you know, we're going to have to change it, but So what you have is, and you don't have to look at this if you want, but it's two like these, what is that, Teflon, will lock into here on the ends, and then you'll have a little piece of Teflon here, and then that feeds into, oh, this is not free, or maybe it is, and then that'll lock on the end, so it'll be one piece that you can put on pretty much any printer bot. It even has mounting screw holes in the bottom. Now this is just one idea. I think we all need to settle on the best case scenario for the forum here. So Mark has designed some stuff that I think is really good. I haven't gone through, sorry Mark, and printed everything and tried the whole system, mainly because there was some mounting stuff that is helpful for a lot of people, but not really for me because I have a bunch of metal parts. And so this is where we started, and it was just kind of a mock-up of what we're talking about for talking points. So this is where we're at now. This is actually got the, I don't know where, parts are falling. Where did he put it? Oh, look. He's got the extruder board mounted in here. Everything's wired up. We've got the firmware that Mark referenced. So he was kind enough, he's a software guy, so he was kind enough to get that all dialed. And I'm going to use his settings for Cura, and I'm going to do his setup on here. Maybe not every part will be the same, but really what we need to test is if you have a working 2-into-1, can you get it to correctly extrude, switching colors, and have a 2-color print. So he even has a PB logo that he did in 2 colors to save some time, because there's also the design part of this. But we're going to try to follow Mark's lead, and I hope you'll join that on GitHub and the links that we just shared. And maybe we can put this in an article or somehow aggregate. Aggregate's not the right word. But anyway, I want to share this on our site. All right.
Forum links?
What?
The links that you were just talking about?
Yeah, those links. We need them somewhere, like maybe just a small article on our blog, and then we can just tweet it out. So I see William Steele or Bill. I need to add this to the printer belt. Yes, that's the whole idea. If we have a system that works well with printer bot equipment, printer bot hot ends, by the way, the final will be, the final kit or whatever we recommend will include the latest gearhead extruder, because it's really good. And you can use whatever you want to test with it. But we hope to try to add one more element to this. And it's Brian Rowe was here last week, and he showed his little model, and I've been playing with that. To have these just be feeding a direct drive extruder. The reason that that is cool is the gearhead extruder, if you just push the filament down really lightly and it's advancing, you don't have to do anything. It pulls it in, and it's got tight enough tolerances to just grab that filament and push it through the final direct drive. That's really what's lacking. That was the only real part that we needed to be able to have 2 feeder motors just push filament down to the direct drive. Here's why direct drive is important in dual color multi-material. Ninja Flex, basically flexibles. And so you can't really do flexibles with this, but the printer belt is really exciting. I got some stuff to share about that, but it's cool. But I really hope to have it be multi-material. Now we have, this isn't all official yet, but we have had a conference call with Mosaic. I think they were a Kickstarter back in the day, and they've got their palette. I don't remember what it's called, but anyway, they're the guys that splice the filament and kind of weld it together, whatever they're doing. Some magic inside the box that takes one color and, you know, glues it, whatever they're doing, adds it to another color, and they have 4 colors in, I think. Don't quote me on any of this. Obviously, I haven't used it. But anyway, I saw a demo at a show, and it's pretty neat because then you just have one filament coming in. Well, that makes it really easy, but that will be an additional cost. So something for the rep-rappers or the people that like to mod their own equipment is what we're really trying to do first. And we're going to be working with Mosaic to have that be something that you can just buy and add on to any printer bot, and hopefully the printer belt too. It'll be a little more sophisticated system. But for guys that don't want to pay the tax of, you know, fully built, assembled machines, and they want to do it themselves, we're trying to get our heads around this whole multicolor thing. Now, I sometimes say multi-material. Here's why multi-material can be a problem. If you have one extruder and you have two filaments or materials that have different temperatures, then what are you going to do? You got to cool down the hot end and wait and then extrude that, or heat it up and wait for it to go down. So this will first have use for multicolor. And then we'll see what we can do for the multi-material. First, it will be materials with very, very similar melting temperatures, if that makes sense. Okay, so anyway, that's that. Thank you, Mark, for your work and keeping my feet to the fire. We're going to keep working on this. This is one of those things in a printer bot that we call a project. It is not a product yet, so we'll get there. And by the way, I don't, these projects, they are distracting from business, right? But I'm the type of guy that I need to stay interested. And so, it's just the type of guy I am. I'm good at starting things. But when we start manufacturing and we build these day in and day out, it gets a little boring for me personally. So I like to keep my mind active on projects. And then sometimes they turn into disasters. But sometimes they turn into products. So anyway, that's that. So that's the multicolor stuff. Hang in there with me. I will be getting this printing, and we want to play along with Mark and take his lead. So please get involved in that community and what we're doing there.